So as you guys can see from the thumbnail, the Bora Centipede doesn't just help us with work, but in fact, also with play. But we'll get to that later. Guys, let's get to the meat of the subject, right? If you have a small shop, or honestly no shop at all, or you're looking for something to kind of help you with making a portable or being more accessible on a job site, this might be something for you to consider, because there are so many of you of my friends that are here locally and also across the YouTube universe that are commenting, I don't have a shop. Or I've got a garage, so when I do things, I have to move the car out, and then it just becomes such a hassle. Today, I want to let you know that there is an option that I think might be absolutely perfect for whether you have a shop or you don't have a shop. And I know that might seem contradictory, but I will tell you, guys, when I first moved into this property here, it was in absolute chaos. It was kind of the spawn of chaos and disorganization, and it had the child called this property. Now, for me, the second I signed papers, my project list spiked significantly. And so I did what anyone would do. I set up shop on the floor. And 2 chiropractic appointments later, I ended up purchasing the Bora Centipede, which is right here. And I'm excited to share with you guys my thoughts after having this for 2 years. And throughout that time, I've got a lot of things that I want to say. Some of them you may or you may not like, we'll kind of see. But I'm excited to not only see if this is the right specific thing for you, but also if it might be a great opportunity for even those that have a shop and you're still considering getting one from a portability standard. This is going to be a great option in my opinion, but let me share with you why. And there's also some things that I'm hoping Bora's listening, because there's some things that I definitely think need to be improved on it at the same token. So with that, let's get started. For me, at the time of purchasing this, portability was not my primary need. I needed something in the shop. Again, this shop was complete chaos. There was no table space. Obviously now I've built this table and I've got that one. Again, these are the ultimate outfeed tables from Travis with Shop Nation. Highly encourage you that if you're at that stage of your shop where you want to develop one, I really think this is a great option. You could do one very specifically like this. This is almost a verbatim clone to what Travis did in his, with the exception of the router and the router lift. I'm still debating on if I want to do that versus putting it on my saw stop, or even having a separate table, because I'm just coming to recognize that I don't pull that out as much as I thought I would. And therefore, I don't want to make it just for the sake of making it. I want it to be something that really used. And I also got the table over here, which is a variation on the foundation of it. So for me, my primary purpose in buying this was I needed a workbench. When I first moved into this property, like I said, my project list increased exponentially. And so for me, it was very imperative that I have some sort of a temporary workbench that I could actually use. And so I had actually purchased this right here. And I will tell you that now that I even have these tables, this still is a primary need for me. You might be like, well, wait, you said you bought this only because you needed a table. Now you have tables. Why is it still of use? I'll tell you what, this has a place for the temporary home, for the primary workbench. You know what I mean? It's got its pros and it's got its cons, as does anything. This table is amazing, but it's got a significant flaw. It would require the combination of the strength from Thor, Colossus, and World Breaker Hulk to move it, right? Except for the casters, guys, bear with me, right? You understand what I'm saying, but I can't easily take this table to the land. This I can. And just like this, primary strength is stability, storage. This, one of the primary things is portability, right? So both of them have a place in my shop. So let's go ahead. I want to show you my particular one. Now I ended up going with the 4 foot by 8 foot. Simply know this. For those of you that are like, ooh, well, that's a little bit big, there are other versions and variations that you can actually get as well. Now, I know a lot of people that don't even keep it in their bag. I like to, because as you can see, like right now it's bending if I store it like this. Now I know most people would store it vertically, but it's just putting tension on the things. I believe it's meant to be stored in this position to put the least amount of stress on the articulating joints of this. But as you can see, Most people would store it just like that. Genius, right? Let me show you. One of the mantras of Bora Bora is this throw and go concept. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm always going to give a little bit of a pre-opening. I'm grabbing the center spikes, but it's in like this, and then I just toss it like that, okay? And as you can see, it's totally set up. I am now ready to go ahead and mount this with a table or a tabletop. It literally, when you go from unzipping it to throwing out, is honestly no more than 30 seconds. Now guys, there's a variety of different sizes that I want to share with you guys, right? There's a 2 foot by 4 foot by 30-inch tall table, okay? If you want something a little bit smaller. They also have listened to the audience and the customers, and they've realized that there's also a need for a 2 foot by 4 foot by 36 inches tall, which is closer to more what most people will do for their bench tops. For those of you that are like, I would say maybe 5'8" or below, the 30 inch is great. But for those of you that are pushing above that, you know that it can be uncomfortable to always have to be bending over to get to the top. Now, I believe that they made this at 30 inches for a variety of different reasons. But once you, for me, the way that I generally tend to use it is once I add my plywood down, there's another 3/4 of an inch, plus I add my foam backing, because I use this a lot to do cutting with the plywood as well as chopping off, and then also as a temporary workstation. Then that will add another 1.5 inches. So that will bring it up just a little bit. Also, they've got a 2 foot by 4 foot by 36 inch tall one as well, for those of you that are on the taller side. In addition to that, they've got the 4 foot by 8 foot by 30 inch tall, which is what you're seeing here today. But if you want to go with something a little bit more in between, they've also got the 4 foot by 6 foot by 30 inch high. At the time of filming this, the table is actually priced, this one specifically, is priced at $209.99. Now, if you want to go down and get the 2 foot by 4 foot, right now it's at about $99. And again, that's for the 30 inch high, but you can also upgrade that to the 36 incher, which is $119. Or you could take these 30 inchers and you can buy the accessories that Bora sells, which are 6-inch lifts, if you will, give it kind of a lift kit. Who doesn't love a lift kit? And there's also the 4x6, which is coming in at right around $179. Again, at the time of filming, if you go to the Bora website. And again, for a lot of you, Lowe's is a dealer. There's a variety of different dealers that actually service the Bora brand. If you're not sure if you want to actually pull the trigger and purchase one, understand that Bora does offer a 60-day buyback guarantee, and tables come with a lot of different accessories. There are grippers, there are wide panel supports, there's riser accessory kits that can vary anywhere between $19 up to really $50. So there's a variety of different attachments that I wanted to maybe cover with you guys. One of them is going to be these hold down clamps, right? So you can actually take a piece of wood, or you could take something and use this to press down against it, and then just use it. It's an offset canter that holds and fastens that material down. Some people say, well, do you use that for the actual top? If you're going to put like a 4x8 sheet of plywood on it, would you use this to hold it down? Yes. Or would you say that it's for holding down things that you're actually going to be working on? Also, answer yes. You could use it for both, really. In addition to that, they sell these X brackets, which are pretty fantastic to a large degree, and they just fit in that same hole, and they allow you to run a 2x4 down this, in a sense, creating either a sawhorse-like mechanism. Now, guys, understand that with the Bora Centipede, that there's a variety of different options for the actual tabletop. When you look at this here, you think, well, there's got to be some version of an actual top. They do offer individual pieces that would go out here, here, here. Now, in order for me to do it for my particular one, I would need 4 of the Bora tops, if you will. Now, these tops are a solid bench top, and in my opinion, they're made of MDF, and that just isn't the best solution. Now, if you're inside a controlled workshop, then honestly, that's probably not a bad option for you. One, there is a benefit to having them in 2 by 4 foot sections as opposed to one large top, because it does allow for more portability or easier taking and breaking down, if you will, of it. However, when you look at these bench tops, right, it is plastic joinery, so the hinges are plastic. I'm not sure how that will last. If there are those of you that out there that have them, I'd be curious to know, have you had any challenges with it? But if you're about to say, I've had no problems whatsoever, I had it for 2 years, please also let us know, have you truly used it? And two, have you actually taken it externally into the great outdoors and, I don't want to say abused it, because I would never recommend abusing our equipment, but there is something to be said about actually using it. How does it wear and tear with normal use, okay? So there's a solid top, but they also make ones that have dog holes. Now, when you're looking at purchase those, understand that there's two versions. There's the 20mm dog holes and there's the 3/4 inch dog holes. You can buy them. They're both the same price. I want to say they're $89.99. Now, when it comes to this table has a 4,500 pound capacity to it. However, the MDF panels have a reduced capacity of 2,000 pounds. Now, the honest truth is most of us are never even going to come close to exceeding that, but it's important to note. Now, my biggest gripe with the MDF is, one, there's a reason why when most people don't use the MDF, one, yes, it's cheaper, but two, it dents easily, especially on the exterior. It doesn't tolerate moisture. So for me, when I'm taking it out to the land and we're working on a variety of projects out there, it's susceptible to soil, moisture, things of that nature, or getting pretty banged up. So if I'm going to be having it in a shop where it's a controlled environment, then I think that it's a reasonable argument to say that that could work. I'm tempted to putting a hardwood edge bending on it, kind of like what you see with a lot of my tables here. I've done black walnut on all of this, which is MDF underneath this board with plywood underneath that and an edge banded of black walnut. And I think that would be two things that would really help. I think if the great world of Bora is listening, I think some of the things that we might be able to do to kind of help out is sealing those, sealing the MDF tables, as well as providing some sort of a protection on the edge, whether that's through a hardwood, but doing some sort of like an edging on it to kind of help for those that is more of like an off-road version. Maybe there could be like right, when you buy a Chevy, there's like the off-road package versus this would be like the off-road version, right? A little bit more of a reinforced. When you're looking at this particular table, one of the things I would encourage you to do is go and look through the reviews, right? One of the key questions I kept seeing coming up is, would you buy it again? And almost resounding, the answer was not only yes, I would buy it again, but I would also buy a smaller one, which I can personally say that that's true for me as well. I love this one, not only for the variety of opportunity that it provides, but there are times where I'm like, it would be nice to have a smaller version. So I think for me, if I were someone looking at doing it again, I would say absolutely consider getting maybe the 4x6. I personally don't mind the 4x8. I actually like the size, right? Because when this table was gone and my other table was gone, this was nice because I would have this set up. I would be doing all my operating over here and then most of my cutting over there. Or if I was utilizing a 4x8 sheet of plywood that I was doing all my breaking down on, then I had adequate space and I liked the support that kind of went with it. The other question that people oftentimes had is, okay, this is a 4x8, but what if I slightly brought it in like this? Could I not just use it to have this and there I've got my smaller table? And the answer is no. This really needs to be, once this starts bearing weight, you can see all of these innards, these inner articulating joints are just creeping and bending. Not good. So you want to definitely make sure that this has to be fully extended for it to function, or at least with the weight capacities that they've put on it and without damaging the articulating arms, if you will, the fasteners that are holding each of the pillars together. Now, I would also say that right now there's some individuals that would say, well, how does this compare to like an MFT table? There's a gentleman that came out with some track tubes that can go on top of this, and they make it a little bit taller and they make it a little bit more firm. I'll put actually the link to his video down below. His name is Fred. Seems like a genuine individual, but check that out. So know that the versatility is highly out there for you to work with this table. I will tell you that that is one of the ways that you know that this table is going to be around and it's going to be available for a while, is because when you start seeing it so established that individuals start making a ton of accessories for it as the platform, you just know that it's a good system, okay? And so again, if you're looking at an MFT, go to that. He's got a lot of varieties that would replace that joint that allows you to flip up and down with your track saw. But I believe there's a lot of great options for this that would allow you to do that. Now, some of you might be looking at, well, what happens if you have this on, you don't have flat ground? I would tell you, first and foremost, you're almost always going to want to make sure that there is some level of flat ground that you're trying to achieve with this. So yes, it will accommodate to having a mildly unstable surface, but it's not going to do it to the level that you probably want it to be, that you want it to do. So suggestion, get as flat as you can. It works great from that standpoint. Then when I go to pick it up, grabbing those two centers, just pull it in. Now, oftentimes, guys, we get stuck in our lane. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to the Bora Centipede, we oftentimes think that it's just for the workshop. But the reality is that there is so much more beyond the workshop where you can use the Bora portable system. I've used it as a mobile bench in the garden for planting, which helps prevent bending. I've also used it as an extra table during special events. I've thought long and hard about this next statement. I don't think you should just buy one. I think you should buy two, a small one and a large one. So, hey guys, again, consider liking and subscribing as it helps the channel out so much. And we appreciate you guys. And shoot dang, this was a good one.